Let's hear it one more time for Leah. All right, we have about 20 minutes of announcements. Please keep your electronic devices away and keep your questions until the end, okay? So we can get out here on time. Actually, earlier. We're doing very well on time. So first thing first, we need to do a quick introduction. So many of you already met our new graduate assistant, but not everyone. So Bianca Macias.
Hi everyone, I'm Bianca Macias. Just to introduce myself and give a little brief background for those that I haven't met yet. I am a University of Florida grad, so I did my undergrad here. Moved away to Denver for a few years, and now I'm back for my master's in public health. I worked at Rec Sports while I was in undergrad here. In boot camp, not necessarily as an FA or an FS, but other fitness roles as well. So I do have some personal history at Rec Sports, and that was part of the reason I wanted to come back, was to work here again and also work with students again. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. I'm really excited to be back in Gainesville, back at UF, back at Rec Sports. So come talk to me. I'd love to get to know you all a little bit more and learn about you and what you're doing and what your goals are. So yeah, go Gators.
If you're a new fitness supervisor that starting in the fall, please stand up. Give a round of applause. If you're a new fitness associate that's starting in the fall, please stand up. All right, we have some special shout outs to do really quickly. So first, Austin, would you please rise? Just a couple of words about you. So Austin served as a fitness intern this summer, and he has been instrumental for us, for the admin team, and for fitness as a whole. He's done a lot of things with accessories, with equipment replacement plan, with a lot of smaller projects that are very important around recreational sports, as well as just being a great component of Rec Sports and helping out with monthly meetings and things like that. So thank you so much. Appreciate you. Ty, everybody stand up. So Ty, please stay standing for a second so while I say think about you. So the thing about Ty's also a huge proponent of recreational sports. He's super enthusiastic about welcoming new fitness associates to the team and mentoring them. He truly cares about entire Rec Sports and fitness, and he's a huge proponent of strength and conditioning. Just really appreciate all the help that you provided with shifts, all the help that you provided with training, and your enthusiasm. Thank you so much.
So up next we have McLean, our superstar from July. So I definitely have appreciated you picking up all the shifts. I know everyone here probably has. You were pulling almost 40 hours a week consistently. That's incredible. All the work you do, you don't just come in and kind of like work the shift. You put the time in, you put the effort in. You really foster that leadership mentality, and we couldn't be more grateful to have you. You also have pitched ideas that have been really helpful in moving forward with S&C. So thank you.
And last but not least, we have Rebecca Day. Rebecca has also spent a tremendous amount of her time here in the facilities over the summer, helping to pick up a lot of shifts. And when she's on shift, just really going above and beyond to make sure that things are being done well, and just helping out as much as possible. And obviously, her work ethic has been rewarded in her promotion to a supervisor.
There's also one more person that needs to be mentioned. Ben, go ahead and stand up. This morning, when we did Jeopardy game, Ben stepped in graciously to fill the void for two other employees that were not here this morning. It takes courage. Thank you.
If you are looking for more details, definitely ask your supervisors on shifts. There's an SOP at the desk. There's a picture of how everything should look. But in general, people should be throughout the weight room doing various activities that we have as our responsibilities. So that's that. If you're coming back in the spring, it's new. So just get comfortable with it, get used to it, and ask your supervisors if you have any questions. Supervisors that are returning, you should have received a document with any information that you would need about it. If you have further questions, you can always ask me.
Okay. So if you're returning and you haven't been to student rec yet, you'll notice that there is no more desk at student rec. So the desk was not ADA compliant, so we had it removed. We do want to make our facilities as accessible and inclusive as possible. So having something that is not ADA compliant does not align with those goals. So there is now the laptop. There's like a storage bin behind it with accessories, cleaning supplies, things like that. And then the laptop is on a stand near the window. And then it just also allows for some more open space in the weight room cardio area at student rec. So with that, there's also kind of a new rotation system that should be in place. So one person would be like the equipment or laptop manager. So they're standing by the computer to field questions or check out equipment, things like that. The other person would be like the floor manager, so they're rotating or just picking a spot on the floor to hang out in for a few minutes to make sure that we have eyes throughout the floor. If both people are at the desk, it's really hard to make sure that people are safe in other areas of the floor if they're in the little functional training space or just to see if they're using clips on the squat racks. So just make sure, and you can interchange those roles, but just make sure that one person is kind of floating or rotating throughout the floor and one person is manning the station by the computer.
Okay, accident form and incident form. So this summer, we no longer utilizing paper forms. This is a big change, so Connect 2. We utilize this system now for a lot of different functions within recreational sports as a whole. But one big change that came about this summer is that now accident form and incident form both filled out electronically through Connect 2. Now with that, remember that you also can check out facility operations tablet or iPad rather from equipment room, and you can utilize that as well. So let's say that you have code red or code green on the opposite side of the weight room. Obviously, it's probably not the best thing to use paper and then transfer it into computer. You can actually bring the tablet with you and fill out the information in the tablet on the spot. So supervisors, if you haven't done that, I would go ahead and just check out the iPod from the equipment room and make sure you know how to use it. It's very simple. You're going to have a logo or app rather on the desktop of the tablet. You just click on the Connect 2 application and then you will see forms. Both forms will appear there within Connect 2 and you can just click on either one and go through the entire form. So it's a pretty simple process. Now remember, another reminder is that anytime you have code red, particularly when you call an ambulance, you also need to call me. So I can notify my supervisors and directors and everyone is on the same page and we communicate within recreational sports. Incident form would be utilized when some of the behavioral situation occurs. So let's say you have a fight, let's say you have an argument, let's say something is broken in the facility, like window, you will be, or there's a customer service suggestion. So you will be utilizing incident form in that regard. There's some instances that you might come across that will require both. So let's say that if argument escalates into some sort of verbal altercation that results in an injury, then you will fill out accident form to take care of injury, and then incident form to take care of the verbal altercation that started. Right? Yeah.
Is operations being made aware that one of those iPads are ours, just because I've gone there multiple times and like they are using all of the iPads and they don't know that we have our iPads?
They're actually not ours. We should be sharing one of them with
Okay.
operations, but there should be one available at all times in that safe. So if that's not the case, let's keep an eye on that because I've been told that they have designated one that should remain there for that purpose.
Okay.
Good question. Anything else on that? Good. we also have a few different pieces of new equipment. I specifically wanted to talk to you about Marco Rope Trainer because this piece of equipment differentiates from everything else that we've gotten this summer. We have some bikes from Matrix that exact same functionality as older bikes. We have new cable cross machine, Live Fitness that replaced Matrix that we had in the middle of the weight room, as well as few powerlift pieces on the right-hand side of the weight room when you first walk in. So there's dip machine, pull-up machine, two of them that are new, as well as ham glute machine. If you remember glute ham machine, that one that people used to use for crunches. So we have a new one as well. But this one here is quite different from anything else that we've had. So if you haven't had a chance to play with it, do so in your first shift. This is a unique piece of equipment. So obviously this rope could be utilized in different ways. One thing that I really like is that you can adjust the lever and you can change the direction of the pull from vertical to horizontal pull. So if the lever comes down here, you can start doing more of a horizontal pull type of exercises. And you can easily play around with resistance. So it's really easy to go from endurance exercise to strength exercise. And you also have a little monitor on the bottom that will keep track of different metrics. It just depends on how you want to do it. If you want to do it by time or if you want to do it by calories, and so on and so forth. So if you haven't had a chance, take a look at that. Also, there is a QR code here that will take you directly to a video showcasing some exercises. So it makes it really easy for you and patrons to learn more about it. All right, so new cameras. We also installed new cameras definitely in the southwest weight room. You will notice it actually has like a few different lenses and it's high definition. One thing, the main reason why it's been done is because previously the camera had very limited angle of view, so now there's going to be a lot more different angles that will be included in that view. And also, it makes it really easy, so it makes it really easy to watch these videos on the spot, to rewind the footage. So the safety was the main reason why the camera was installed. Example could be if someone has the verbal altercation with another patron, now we'll be able to access that footage more quickly and have that proof. So this is really good thing for us. And then, what else? One thing that also ends up happening is that actually now it will have direct shot at the desk. Before we didn't have that. I'm talking about Southwest Welcome Room desk. So I wanted to make you all aware of that because obviously that's going to be important going forward. I included a shot that was sent to me by Associate Director just to showcase what it looks like. So this is the shot of the desk that some individuals within the department will have access to at all times. Just keep that in mind. I know we talked about having sort of like what's the word I'm looking for? The snapshots, right? The snapshots sometimes could be misleading because if somebody sees you do something one time and they make assumptions, that's not necessarily a great thing, but just realize that if someone pulls up that camera, they will be able to see what's going on at any given time at the desk now going forward. And then remember, what I mentioned now, if you have any kind of situations where equipment was not returned, or again, if patron was misbehaving, now we should be able to access that a lot quicker, and the entire process should be a lot more effective.
Shift draft, next Sunday, August 25th. If you can't be there, make sure you send in 20 preferences, time, facility, etc. to the admin team, or give it to the trusted buddy if you be there. FX draft is first, 7 to 8:30. FA draft 8:30 to 10 in the arena next Sunday.
All right, so we had an awesome presentation from Leah on managing expectations. So being able to hold yourself accountable and not self-sabotaging your character, holding each other accountable. We don't want to receive pictures like that from the desk, okay? So a part of this is just expectations while on shift. So we mentioned that new rotation or circulation. Those are expectations that when we're walking into the weight room and even when we're not there, that those are being upheld. So hold each other accountable. It doesn't matter, FA, FS, whoever. Hold each other to a higher standard and make sure that really we don't want to have to reiterate all of these expectations every single meeting, right? Like Leah said, you know what's expected and you know better. So just make sure that while you're on shift, take the initiative to start cleaning. Don't wait for someone to tell you. Take the initiative to go on your rotation and make sure that patrons in the weight room are safe. Take the initiative to approach patrons when they're not following the policies that we've set. That way, we don't have to set a new standard every time. A patron's not telling you, well, no one's told me that before. If we're all consistent all the time, then it'll be really easy conversations. The parking app. So this lot on the west side of the building. I know that we have employees that park there. Make sure if you are parking there that you're following the time limit. We were made aware of situations where employees in general through recreational sports were parking there and falsifying their time. So, just trying to extend the period of time that they can park in that lot. That lot is designed really for patrons to be able to park there, come work out, leave. That's why the time limit is short. If you can park there as long as it's within the allotted time limit. This is something that is kind of under the reign of U.S. Transportation and Parking Services. We don't have control over the parking on campus, unfortunately. So just make sure if you're parking there, you're following the rules that are set. They are aware that people have not been doing that, so we are making you aware that they are aware, and if you continue to do it, there may be consequences from them that we have no control over. That could be in the form of like a ticket or a fine. So just know that they know, and something might be done about it if you continue to do it. That just kind of goes along with that integrity piece as well. There are other options. You can purchase a decal to park on campus. You can take the bus. You can carpool. You can walk. You can ride a bike. You can Uber or Lyft if you need to. There are other ways to park aside from in that lot falsifying. Clear on that? All right, and then last one, shift coverage. This is a big one. I think we have another slide for this. All right, Lexi's gonna walk us through how to get shift covered.
Okay, so we're gonna do a little thing, it's a chart, it's called what is, what should be, what could be. So, first up, what is? Texting Bianca or me before you contact anybody else about a shift. That's what's been happening a lot lately, so we're bringing this up because we know that that is not the procedure, so we're gonna bring up a refresher. What should be, which is what you already know, calling down the contact list, looking at the shifts before and after you, etc. That's an expectation. I wanted to highlight as well, calling down the contact list. So like sometimes you message on GroupMe and it'll get covered and that's great, but sometimes that doesn't work. And when you contact us, it shouldn't be in the form of GroupMe messages that you've sent, it shouldn't be in the form of text messages you sent. It should be a call log with phone numbers on there that you would try to contact. At that point, we can help. Prior to that, we're just going to tell you, hey, call on the contact list, because that's all we can do as well. So, and then what could be, if you follow what should be, is you get shifts covered more quickly. And we won't leave people down in person, because that's been really inconvenient and a strain on everyone lately when people don't hold themselves accountable and follow the procedures that we told you all in our training. So, what is, should not be happening anymore. What should be happening now. And then what could be, is we're going to have a more effective shift coverage system if everyone follows it. It's just what we already have.
If you contact Yuri, myself, or Lexi and say, hey, I need help getting a shift covered, we're going to ask, what have you done already to try and get this shift covered? That's going to be my first question. It's like Lexi said, we don't have anything else in our power to get the shift covered. We can't do anything differently except for call everyone and see if they're available to cover the shift. So help us out. Make sure you're doing your due diligence to try and get your shift covered before contacting us about it.
Unless it's an emergency, obviously that's in there. But we also have what is and what is not an emergency, right?
Yeah, look at that. So obviously we are reasonable human beings, and we know that things happen, and there are emergency situations where you might not be able to get to your shift. So, just to make it clear on what that looks like, we have what is an emergency and what is not an emergency. And this is not an exhaustive list, but it's just a brief overview. So, obviously, if you get into a car accident, that's an emergency, right? You're on your way to your shift and you get into a car accident and you're like, I'm not going to make it. Yeah, that's reasonable, right? We don't expect you. We're not going to be like, well, too bad, figure out a way to get here. Sorry, leave your car on the side of the road. We're not going to say that. I don't really feel like working, so I'm trying to get my shift covered. That's not an emergency. Okay? Obviously, like a severe illness or injury to yourself or a family member, again, we want you to be healthy and safe, and that is our priority as well. So if something severe is going on, we're going to be understanding of those situations. So reach out. You don't need to give us, we don't need the nitty-gritty details, but just let us know that something serious is going on, you need some help, and we'll be happy to help out, and we understand those things happen. What's not an emergency? I have an exam and I haven't studied, and my exam is in a couple hours, and I could really use that extra study time. I mean, obviously that's a serious situation. Your grades are important, you're a student, but that comes down to kind of like time management, organization, kind of having an idea about that beforehand. So that is then your responsibility to get that shift covered or work that shift. You've got to kind of figure those situations out. Loss of transportation again, so if you get into a car accident or something happens where you don't have a viable means of transportation to get to work, that would be a situation where you need to let us know, and we'll do what we can to help you out. Going out of town and saying, oh, I'm not back in town in time for my shift, that's not an emergency. That was, again, a planning thing where you probably could have made some other decisions and gotten here on time. Anything to add?
No, I mean, obviously with this, text or call, that's not an issue. The issue is just text or call. When it's an emergency, we want to know and we want it to be okay.
And when things come up unexpectedly also, and if it's within 24 hours, just try to contact us directly as well. So sometimes it's difficult to get through all the emails within one day or half of the day. So if you cannot make your shift in this next day, you can call or text us as well, that's fine. Just actually please do, so that way we're aware, because it really helps a lot. All right, so if your name appears on the board, please remain in the room. Other than that, you're free to go. Everyone do need to clock out though.
So follow Bianca, she's going to walk you to the fitness center, training center.
No, I think it's something